In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantages that you've had. He didn't say any more, but we've always been unusually communicative in a reserved way, and I understood that he meant a great deal more than that. In consequence, I'm inclined to reserve all judgments, a habit that has opened up many curious natures to me, and also made me the victim of not a few veteran bores. The abnormal mind is quick to detect and attach itself to this quality when it appears in a normal person, and so it came about that in college I was unjustly accused of being a politician, because I was privy to the secret griefs of wild, unknown men. Most of the confidences were unsought. Frequently I feigned sleep, preoccupation, or hostile levity when I realized by some unmistakable sign that an intimate revelation was quivering on the horizon. For the intimate revelations of young men, or at least the terms in which they express them, are usually plagiaristic and marred by obvious suppressions. Reserving judgments is a matter of infinite hope. I am still a little afraid of missing something, if I forget that, as my father snobbishly suggested, and I snobbishly repeat, a sense of the fundamental decencies is parceled out unequally at birth. After boasting this way of my tolerance, I came to the admission that it has a limit. Conduct may be founded on the hard rock or the wet marshes, but after a certain point I don't care what it's founded on. When I came back from East last autumn, I felt that I wanted the world to be in uniform, and at a sort of moral attention forever. I wanted no more riotous excursions with privileged glimpses into the human heart. Only Gatsby, the man who gives his name to this book, was exempt from my reaction. Gatsby, who represented everything for which I have an unaffected scorn. If personality is an unbroken series of successful gestures, then there was something gorgeous about him, some heightened sensitivity to the promises of life, as if he were related to one of those intricate machines that register earthquakes 10,000 miles away. This responsiveness had nothing to do with that flabby impressionability which is dignified under the name of the creative temperament. It was an extraordinary gift for hope, a romantic readiness such as I have never found in any other person, and which it is not likely I shall ever find again. No, Gatsby turned out all right at the end. It is what preyed on Gatsby, what foul dust floated in the wake of his dreams, that temporarily closed out my interest in the abortive sorrows and the short-winded elations of men. I lived at West Egg, the less fashionable of the two, though this is a most superficial tag to express the bizarre and not a little sinister contrast between them. My house was at the very tip of the egg, only 50 yards from the Sound, and squeezed between two huge places that rented for 12 or 15,000 a season. The one on my right was a colossal affair by any standard. It was a factual imitation of some Hotel de Ville in Normandy, with a tower on one side, spanking new under a thin beard of raw ivy, and a marble swimming pool, and more than 40 acres of lawn and garden. It was Gatsby's mansion, or rather, as I didn't know Mr. Gatsby, it was a mansion, inhabited by a gentleman of that name. My own house was an eyesore, but it was a small eyesore, and it had been overlooked, so I had a view of the water, a partial view of my neighbor's lawn, and the consoling proximity of millionaires, all for $80 a month. Across the Courtesy Bay, the white palaces of fashionable East Egg glittered along the water, and the history of the summer really begins on the evening I drove over there to have dinner with the Tom Buchanans.
Got a nice place here.
Very impressive, Tom.
Oh, I know. I got it from an oil man.
You must have been very rich in oil.
Oh, he was indeed.
Oh, Nikki, I'm paralyzed with happiness.
All of Chicago sends their love your way.
Do they miss me?
Absolutely.
How gorgeous. Tom, we must go there sometime. Tomorrow. Oh, Nikki, you must see the baby.
I should.
You've never seen her before?
So you're in the bond business.
I am.
With whom?
Oh, all the Long Island people.
I don't know them.
No, you don't, but you will if you stay in the East.
Oh, I wouldn't stay anywhere else.
Absolutely. So I hear you live in West Egg. I know someone there.
I don't know a single person there.
Gatsby? You must know Gatsby.
What Gatsby?
Dinner is served.
candles. In 2 weeks, it'll be the longest day of the year. Do you ever watch for the longest day of the year and then miss it? I always watch for the longest day of the year and then I miss it.
We ought to plan something.
All right, what do we plan? What do people plan? I hurt my finger. You did it. That's what I get for marrying such a brute of a man, such a hulking...
I hate that word hulking, even in kidding.
Hulking.
You feel so uncivilized, Daisy. Can't we talk about crops or something?
Civilization is going into pieces. I've gotten to be a terrible pessimist about things. Have you read The Rise of the Colored Empires?
Why no?
Well, it's a fine book. The idea is that if we don't look out, the white race will be utterly submerged. It's all scientific stuff, you know. It's been proved.
Tom's been getting very profound lately. He reads big books with long words. What was that one word that we...
Well, these books, they're all scientific. This fellow has worked out the whole thing. It's up to us, who are the dominant race, to watch out where these terrible other races will be in control.
We've got to beat them down.
You ought to live in California.
The idea is that we're all Nordics. You are, we all are. And we've produced all these things, art and all that. Do you see?
I suppose so.
Hello, Buchanan residence.
You know we have a family secret. It's about the butler's nose. Do you want to hear about the butler's nose?
That's what I came here for.
Well, you see, she didn't always used to be a butler. She used to run a silver service company in New York. But then eventually, because she had to work from morning until night, it started to affect her nose.
Things went from bad to worse.
Yes, from bad to worse, until eventually she had to leave her position. I'd love to see you at my table, Nick. You remind me so much of a flower, an absolute flower, like a rose. Isn't he a rose?
An absolute rose.
Yes.
So it's Mr. Gatsby you speak of.
Don't talk.
Tom, we'll see what happens.
Is there something happening?
You don't know? I thought everyone knew.
I don't.
Tom, hang up the phone.
Tom's got some woman in New York.
So woman.
She might have the decency not to telephone at dinner time, don't you think?
I have to go. Okay, goodbye.
Well, it couldn't have been helped. I looked outside while we were out there, and I saw a bird on the lawn. It was chirping. It could have been on White Star Line. It's very romantic, isn't it, Tom?
Very romantic. Care to join me in the library?
I'd be delighted to.
Let's go outside, Nikki.
Of course you do.
After you?
Thank you. Nick, we don't even know each other that well, and we're cousins. You didn't even come to my wedding.
I wasn't back from the war yet, Daisy.
Well, I suppose that's true. It's just, you see, I've been through a lot of bad times lately, and I'm pretty cynical about most things now.
Tell me about your daughter. I suppose she eats and talks.
Well, I suppose she does. It's just that, well, do you want to know what I said when she was born?
Of course.
Well, I said to the nurse when she told me that it was a girl, that I was happy that it was a girl, and I hoped that she would be a fool, because that's the best thing a girl can be in this world. You see, everybody knows it. It's terrible. Everyone knows it. I know it. The advanced scholars in our society know it. And it's just, that's the best thing a girl can be in this world, is a fool. God, I'm so busy.
When I reached my estate at West Egg, I ran the car under its shed and sat for a while on an abandoned grass roller in the yard. The silhouette of a moving cat wavered across the moonlight, and turning my head to watch it, I saw that I was not alone. 50 feet away, a figure had emerged from the shadow of my neighbor's mansion, and was standing with his hands in his pockets regarding the silvery pepper of the stars. Something in his leisurely movements and the secure position of his feet upon the lawn suggested that it was Mr. Gatsby himself. I didn't call to him, for he gave a sudden intimation that he was content to be alone. He stretched out his arms toward the dark water in a curious way, and, as far as I was from him, I could have sworn he was trembling. Involuntarily I gazed seaward, and distinguished nothing except a single green light, minute and far away, that might have been the end of a dock.
Okay, so we did chapter 1 of Great Gatsby. Why did we choose this chapter?
We chose this chapter because it gave us inspiration. We already knew the locations of the chapter and where they were setting, and we already had real life locations that we could do this in. So that's why.
Yeah, Marisha's house is like perfect for chapter 1 with the little stream she has in her backyard. We had really nice water sounds for the scene at the end where Gatsby's like reaching out his hand, and just her like the setting like with her neighborhood and everything. It worked out really nicely. Yeah, the
fancy and nice.
Yeah. So why was chapter 1 significant to The Great Gatsby?
It really showed like the first glimpse of how the characters are gonna act, and it just set up for all the character development that's to come in the later chapters.
How are the characters presented in the chapter?
Daisy's presented as a submissive, flirtatious girl. She, whenever Tom interrupts her a lot, and she just kind of accepts it. She doesn't fight back. She's very talkative. She is flirting with everyone, even Nick, her cousin. It's just the like at the dinner scene when nobody is talking, she comes up with something to talk about, like her finger. So that's how Daisy is presented.
And for Tom, you when he first comes in, he's showing off his house and he's all proud, and it just shows how like snobbish he is, and how obsessed he is with his riches and everything, and how that's a main part of his life and what he really cares about. And then there was the scene where Daisy showed a broken pinky, and that just shows how he's abusive to her, and when he interrupts, it shows how he really doesn't care much of what she has to say, and yeah, it just shows his relationship towards her.
For Nick, this is the part of the chapter where you find about his past. Probably the first 6 minutes of our video is just talking about Nick's past. How his father told him when he was younger to not judge people who didn't have the same opportunities as you, and that really sets the baseline for Nick. That's how he lives his life basically, and you get to learn all about him moving in his past in the war. So this is kind of like your take on Nick, and then when he goes to the party, you can see how he kind of has that observant yet not judgmental feel to him.
Jordan isn't really presented much in this chapter. I mean, she's kind of like a background character as Daisy's friend, and she kind of like is really bored with everything and really like really slow and sluggish almost, and doesn't really care about anything in this. And you think that she's really like boring and stuff, but it's kind of like a mystery, like to keep going in the chapter, because has such a small part that you don't really know what's gonna happen with her.
Gatsby is presented as a kind of mysterious figure. At the end of the chapter, when he's reaching out and he's reaching for the red light and he's trembling, you almost get a sense of like there's something he's like reaching for. He has some goal in mind, but he can't quite grab onto it. So it just sets up how he's going to be portrayed in the future chapters, and it really shows a lot of what's to come for Gatsby.
So what are the things that we liked about making the video? Well, I thought it was really fun hanging out, obviously, because we're all good friends, and it was really fun. But I also really liked filming the scenery. Tina and I went by ourselves, and we filmed a bunch of like her pond and ducks and horses and stuff. But it's actually kind of fun doing that.
That was fun. I also really like getting like dressed up like in a 20s style. That was really fun. Just like, like blast the past.
Unless you're dressing up as a man.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Actually, I don't know what you're talking about.
The only good thing about that was that we only took like 2 minutes to get ready.
Yeah, they're like,
we were just like,
done.
Yeah, they were done in like 2 minutes, and it took us forever to get the makeup and the hair done.
Hair.
And, oh my gosh, the hair.
It's very hard to try to make long hair look short.
Yeah, because Bob's ruined style.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall this project is really fun. It was stressful, but it was fun.
It was stressful. Just so many takes because we messed up so many
How,
times.
Yes.
how many takes did we do?
A lot.
Oh god, so many. Probably like,
So many bloopers.
I'd say at least 50. At least.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
And it took
so
a really long time to string it all together.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
But
being
it-
able to meet at the same time.
It was
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
It was fun, and it's been like really cool to see the final product.
Yeah.
And just see how all our hard work has paid off in the end. So
We have chapter 1 memorized now. 'Cause we
Yeah,
worked so long.
basically.
So-
At least the people that we were playing.
Yeah.
well, that's Great Gatsby.
Very impressive, Tom. Well, it is. I know. I got it from an oil man.
Must have been very rich in oil.
He was indeed.
Oh my god! No! Oh, how wonderful! I can't remember my lines. Wow. Okay, that was terrible.
Me or you?
Me.
Why? Everyone was waiting
Because
for
I said wow. Do they miss me?
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, I just said wow again.
It doesn't matter if you say wow.
Sorry, I can't. Paralyzed with happiness.
All the people of Chicago send their love your way.
Do they miss me?
Absolutely. Their love your way.
Do they miss me?
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, just casually, like you can eat the whole. Don't eat with your hands. that has to be. Okay.
Are you videoing?
Okay.
Wait,
Are you guys ready for the real
still
time?
chopping up my
Is
babies.
this song? No, this.
I'm still chopping up my babies.
There's not even candles. Okay, no. Do you always watch For the Longest Day of the Year and then always miss it? I always watch For the Longest Day of the Year and then miss it.
I'm sorry.
Candles.
Oh my gosh!
I laughed on it and it flew out. Oh my gosh. Candles.
At least you didn't blow him out.
Candles. Why candles? Really?
That scientific stuff has been proved.
Easy, maybe so feels. Yeah, no.
I'll tell you a family secret. It's about the butler's nose.
That-
My mom used to be a butler. She used to polish silver for some people in New York that had a silver company that they always a butler. She used to polish silver for some people in New York that had a bit She used to polish silver for some people in New York that had a silver service. Butler. She used to polish silver for some people in New York that had a silver service. I'm sorry. I'd love to see you at my table, Nora. Okay,
Well,
so
sorry.
she wasn't always a butler. You see, she used to have polished silver for, family secret. It's about the butler's nose. Do you want to hear about the butler's nose?
That's what I came here for.
Well, she wasn't always You see, she used to polish silver for some You know we had okay. Sorry, that was bad. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you walked in as I was trying to rush.
You know, it was okay.
What was that?
Yeah.
We talked too soon.
No.
So this Mr. Gatsby you speak of.
Don't stop.
You guys want me in the library?
I'd be delighted to.
No, really? Then join me in the library?
Sure. Ah, sorry.
Nick. Caraway. Yep. You're gonna record this, are you?
Just get me like
a little?
a little tiny bit, just like
Lolo?
one little thing.
Lolo flower?
This one's pathetic.
Here, wait.
There's bugs.
Stop.
Here, get this small pathetic one.
Yeah. Ready? Tell my boy. Okay, so you're gonna. I said when she was born.
Yes.
I'll tell you what I said. When she was born, I can't. When she was born, well, Tom was God knows
Stop.
It's just that I was in the hospital and Tom was God knows where. And I woke up and I was utterly abandoned feeling, and okay, what? Terrible anyhow. Everybody thinks so. The most advanced people.
I got the
Wasn't
book.
that familiar yet,
Told me
Daisy?
that she was a girl. I was like,